Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Griffith. I'm the curriculum specialist for health and physical education in Frederick County. I am also happy to represent Shape America as the executive director. This session is going to be AI, using AI to ease teacher workload in health education. And I will let National Teacher of the Year, Melissa Quigley, introduce herself.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Melissa Quigley. I'm a health education teacher at Broadneck High School, and I teach in Anne Arundel County. I'm also going to put the link to this presentation in the chat. So you guys can, this is going to be kind of interactive, so you guys can all click on some things and kind of work through this as we go along as well.
We hope we're going to be talking about two things. As I said, I'm a curriculum specialist. I'm a supervisor at the district level. I'm going to be talking about how we use some of these tools and how you specifically use some of these tools in order to develop curriculum, support our teachers, assessment items, and stuff like that. And then Melissa's going to be talk more specifically about teacher side and how she works on some stuff in order to support her work. And again, ease teacher workload. Work smarter together, not harder alone, is something I say a lot. And one of the things that makes us work smarter is using tools like AI. So what we're going to do is in this session, we're going to talk about how AI can assist in teaching, some applications for classroom and in development and lesson planning and things like that, and a variety of tools and resources. And as Melissa said, she's going to dump the link inside of there. If you open that up, you'll be able to see most of the tools that we're going to be talking about are active links. And what we hope is that you're going to play around with them and identify some stuff as we're going through. We do want to clarify each school system is working on policies to regulate AI in the classroom. So some people a little bit farther along. Some of the tools that we're going to be talking about are tools that you can use, but your students may not have access to. Some of the tools, as Melissa and I were playing around with them, our systems block them, and they weren't blocked a few weeks ago. So it is interesting to see how things are changing on a pretty regular and fast basis. First, how we would like you to start off is inside of the chat feature. What we'd like you to do is 1 through 4, 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1, you have little to no comfort in using AI or any of the tools. 4, you've been using AI, you have a lot of information to share, and you're going to chime in with some resources as Melissa and I are talking as well. We'll give you about a minute in order to put those numbers in. Thank you.
Got some 2.5s. So we're all over the spectrums. I don't see anyone putting any 4s in here. But I hope that you guys can share as we go along as well. We'll give you a chance to share because this is an opportunity for all of us to kind of learn from each other as well, because AI is constantly changing and there are new things that are popping up, and anything that we can share with each other to help ease workload is important to share. All right, so we're between the 1s and the 3s.
What we want to do is just go over a few kind of big picture things before we get started. Again, just what is AI? How does the Department of Education define it? Things like that. So this is what they're defining as AI. And again, just using a tool in order to assist and produce some things as well. And it's amazing. Just we started last year using AI as a curriculum resource. And this past summer, when my teachers went back in to some of those tools, it was amazing how much they've changed in a year. And we know how much technology changes, but again, how it can support you and things like that. And we'll be talking about some of those tools in a little bit. But we want to start off just kind of giving you some parameters as well. As we said, it is a program, and one of the issues with a program is that it is based on the data that's inputted into that program. And so I put some questions down at the bottom. Where does the data come from? How much data is there? Because one of the first trainings that we were working on, me and another colleague were doing AI and health education, and we were typing in National Health Education Standards, and it was giving us all these weird different things for what the national standards were. And so he was able to. He was a paid member. A lot of some of these sites are freemium. They're free for a lot of the different resources, but if you want some added things, you're going to have to pay for them. And he did subscribe to a lot of these different resources, so he was actually able to go in and see kind of the learning and some of the information that was uploaded and entered into there. But it was interesting. So as you're going through, we're going to be talking about some of the different prompts, some of the different how you can teach it. What are some of the different samples you can put into there, and but some of the different issues. But there are issues with it. So there is an act inside of Congress right now that is looking on trying to clear some of that stuff up, make it a little bit clearer. Is this actually stalled in Congress? You should have access to it. You can click on the link. You can see where it is. It has been stalled over the summer, and nothing probably will occur till after the election as well. But they're hopefully trying to get a little bit more guidance at the federal level in order to support everybody and all these different tools that are popping up all over the place.
So we're going to talk about how teachers can use AI. So there's lots of different ways that we can ease the workload: grade tracking and management, scheduling and reminders, streamlining communication with students, with parents, with administration. You can create personalized learning plans, content creation and curation. So you can, there's more. So generate lesson plans and teaching materials, tools for finding and curating educational content, real-time feedback and assessment, and AI-driven formative assessments, and then creating rubrics. So a lot of these things will really decrease the time that you are needed to, like, creating a rubric takes 5 seconds. You can get differentiated instruction for your students and scaffold things very, very quickly and very easily. And we're going to show you how to do that. Some questions to consider, like we talked about before: does your district allow students to use AI? How can you ensure that your students are not using AI in assignments and assessments? They are using it. They're probably using it all the time. If you really want to check to see if your students are using, there's a couple different things out there. And ChatGPT 0 is one of them. You can take, a writing and you can pop it in there and it'll tell you if your student is using it. But I did see something in an AI article where they actually have something to counter that now, students do, where if you put it in there, there's like an AI bot that you can put it in and it humanizes the essay so that it doesn't pick up on it, one of these finders. So it is constantly changing. We're going to constantly be catching up, but we do know that our students are using AI.
We did want to present some guidelines for you as well, and these are guidelines that you can find in a variety of different places, some of the resources that we're going to have down at the bottom. But again, one of the first things is checking for bias and accuracy. If you've heard, there were paralegals and lawyers that use different information, and basically the AI quoted cases that were non-existent. When we were using it to research some health facts, there was some research that was quoted, and I mean, it had a, a, a site. It referenced a specific research, and when you go to look for that research, it's not there. And so, one of the things that you please take a look at what it is, where the information is coming from, and does it meet all of your support for your students as well. And that goes back to the 80-20 approach. And what we try to tell our teachers is we want you to use it to make your job easier, but it should not be the end all and be all. It was funny. One of this summer, I was lucky enough to hire a teacher specialist. As we were hiring that teacher specialist, one of the teachers, one of the applicants, took the job description and put it into an AI bot and basically wrote their letter of interest. And it was funny because it was very clear that it came from a chatbot, and they forgot the 80-20 rule. And so they forgot to go in and actually check for some accuracy and tweak some things that were not, that should not have been included. So it is interesting. 80-20 is the kind of split that we say, let it do the bulk of your work, you clean it up, make it pretty, and go forward. And then again, always think about, as we said, and we're going to say it a lot of times, every school system across the country has different rules and regulations, and they are going to be coming out with different rules and regulations. American Federation for Teachers, there's a link down at the end of this, has some guidelines for school systems, but many school systems, it's the wild, wild west. There is no guidance. There is no support. Teachers, students, everybody's using it. But just make sure that it is your judgment that is coming forward, and your information. Know your limits. And again, one of the last things, protecting your privacy. Please make sure, do not put in any personal identifiable information inside of the chatbot. We do not want to violate any students or yourself as well. So please make sure that all is protected. And again, this is just a nice little graphic that we included, kind of the same stuff that we were going over. You have the link inside of there, and the references down at the bottom.
So prompts matter. You have to be very specific when you're instructing AI what you want to get a specific response. So there are 8 tips for prompt writing using generative AI, and I'm also going to give you specific prompts that are specific that what I use for finding things for health education or creating things. The first part is to be specific. The more specific you are with what you want, the better your outcome is going to be. You're going to assign the AI an identity. Asking the AI tool to behave as a person, process, or object can be an easy way to generate a better prompt. Be specific on how you would like the output to be presented. So it can produce many types of things like stories or written code, reports, summaries, and I'll give you a rubric as an example. If you give it all of the standards that you want in a rubric, but you don't say put it in a chart form or put it within a certain points, it's just going to give you a paragraph. So you have to be very specific on what you want it to look like. Telling AI model what you do and do not want in a response will save you a great deal of time as well. And there's a link at the bottom for an additional article on the information. Some more tips are use examples. Provide the tool with an example sentence or paragraph that can help guide the model in the direction you're trying to go. Consider your audience and tone. Be specific with the tool and what you want it to write. So for example, write me a script that is professional in tone, aimed at freshmen in college. You can correct mistakes and give feedback, especially in ChatGPT or any of those AI bots. It will continue to, take your feedback and edit what you have put in it to get what you want. And if you're not sure where to start, the AI tool, can create prompts for you and go from there. So here's some of the keywords that I specifically used to assist with different AI prompts, depending on what I'm looking for or trying to do. I don't use AI for any content in health education. Content, I have never found that it gives you anything good. It could give you like a list of examples. I use it mostly for rubrics, scenarios, kind of outlines of things. And like Brian said, it does not recognize skill-based health education or those standards, but it can differentiate instruction for you. Again, like I said, it's great for scenarios. But if you look at some of these keywords, these will help you in kind of generating some prompts that are helpful. And I'll give you some examples that I've done in a moment. But remember, you are the expert in charge of the material, so always check your sources when you're reviewing whatever it's shooting back at you. So this is an example of a prompt that I use to create like an outline of a lesson plan. Again, I didn't use any content that it was giving for me. I actually didn't use this. I was just using it as a sample. But it gave a good outline to kind of give some instructional strategies and ways to frame a lesson. So I put the prompt, create a high school lesson plan using the following 2 standards. Create a plan using universal design for learning, and add activities that use participatory learning. So I use the National Health Education Standard for refusal skills. And then I use the MSDE standard on harmful short and long-term physical, psychological, and social effects of using alcohol. Can I share my screen to show what pulled that up? That pulled up? So let's see. Is it not sharing my screen?
Yeah, we see. Well, sorry, I see your chat GPT.
Oh, okay. I just can't see it on the Zoom. So here's that prompt that I put in there. So ChatGPT, if you are logged in, it does save everything on the side here. So I did like a couple sample ones just to kind of see what it would come up with. So I put those standards in there. I did that prompt, and then it came up with this, and it actually broke it into 2 class periods. So it has the objectives. It broke it down into a cognitive and behavioral objectives, the standards, materials that you need, a warm-up activity. So it breaks it down into the participatory learning and the UDL, the direct instruction. Again, you can kind of pick and take what you want from that, but it's a great way to start and figure out what you want. And from here, like an assessment, observe and provide feedback. I might not want to do that. It gives you accommodations and modifications. It gives you extensions, and so on and so forth. So that is just one way to kind of play around using the MSDE standards to kind of create an outline of a lesson plan that you can use. Here is a rubric while I'm in ChatGPT. I did this one for practice as well. So create a 4-point rubric and a chart for high school students based on the following objective. I can examine a health disparity of my choice and provide a summary that provides information how your disparity impacts a marginalized group's health equity. I can explain the risk factors for disease due to health disparity. I use the proper research sources, provided a summary of the impact of health equity and risk factors, and cited my source. My reflection questions are well thought out and based on information learned in the lesson and prior knowledge. Those are things that I wanted in that rubric. So it created the rubric. It broke down each one of those sentences into a different part. And that took 2 seconds because I already had the assignment and I already knew what I wanted. So it broke it down into that 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again, you can copy this, paste it in a Google Doc. You can regenerate it and see if it comes up with something different. You can give it that it's a good response to give it feedback or that it's a bad response. You can add at the bottom of here if you wanted to alter something. Trying to think of what I could alter. So if I wanted to alter it just slightly, and then it'll break it down into the 5 points instead of the 4 points. So you can keep giving it feedback to change what you want, and it builds upon that. All right, I'm going to let you go back to the main presentation.
Well, we just stay up on here. The chat GPT is on slide 18. We can share that again. As it goes through. Yep. All right. So again, all of these up at the top there, these are links. Click on the links, go around. Basically, most of them you can log in if you have a Google account, or it's a quick registration with your email and password and things like that. One of the things that we do with Chat GPT, if you're writing scenarios or something like that, it does take a while. And one of the things that we wanted to do was we were doing a mental health unit that was demonstrating interpersonal communication skills. And so we wanted the kids to identify different scenarios for that, and have those scenarios, a variety of different situations in those scenarios. I want 2 non-gendered names at a middle school level talking about stressful topics inside a class. Identify 3 different things that the 2 students are talking about that's causing them stress currently in their lives, and make it less than 2 paragraphs. And so, boom, it comes up. And so then, again, that roughly writing, 10, 12 sentences for me, that would take a while for me. But through ChatGPT, we were able to sit there and just change a few of the variables to give the kids a different scenario. And in about 5 to 10 minutes, we actually had 8 different scenarios. And then we sat there and said, we had the students actually go through and pick a few of those scenarios and work on different uh, role plays and scripts demonstrating specific interpersonal communication skills, looking at how they were going to work on that as they were working through. And ChatGPT was able to do it in a matter of minutes. It took no time whatsoever. And we're going to be talking about some of the other tools as well. You want me to go on, or are we staying with ChatGPT? Nope, you're on mute. You muted yourself. Sorry.
All right, my dog was barking. I do have a scenario pulled up that I did last spring. I could show them real quick.
You got it.
What
Go.
you were talking about. Okay, so I kept it super simple. Write a 2 to 3 sentence scenario on a teen conflict that needs to be resolved. Then I write one involving sports. And then I prompted it to use gender neutral names and pronouns. So then it changed it to gender neutral names and pronouns. And then I just kept saying, write another one in sports because I liked what it was writing. Write one about playing time. So this was obviously one with different activities within school. So very quickly, within 5 minutes, I had like 6 different scenarios. But if you didn't like what this said here, you could prompt it to say something else. Just like I said, use gender neutral names and pronouns. You could give it a different prompt. Scaffold it for a 6th grade level versus a 9th grade level scenario. So you can change the level of reading and learning and the length of it. Because sometimes when I say ask it to write a scenario, it gives me a novel, which is why I said write a 2 to 3 sentence scenario, because it does give you novels sometimes.
This is one for you, but this is Copilot of Microsoft. And one of the things that I like about Copilot is images. And so I just did a real quick search. One of my colleagues jokingly, he had a buddy who was in the military who loved dogs. He was in the Army, I believe, who loved dogs, and he wanted a dog wearing an Army uniform with flags in the backdrop, saluting, and lo and behold, Microsoft Copilot, boom, created a dog saluting, and was able to create that within a minute. ChatGPT, what's great about that is text based. So you can actually use that tool in order to create the scenarios, the rubrics, things like that. In health education, that's good. Copilot can do the same thing. I'm not sure it is learned as much as ChatGPT. They are two different tools. They're two different databases of information and everything like that. But with Copilot, I love the images access as well. And it used to be Bing, and now it's Copilot. But great little resource for creating that.
The only thing with Copilot is that it doesn't build on, you can't keep asking it questions and it alter it. So I did put the same prompt that I used for ChatGPT in Copilot to see if it would give me the same information. And it did give me pretty much the same information. Once I figured out what exactly I wanted from ChatGPT, then I had to use that prompt in Copilot to get it, since you can't keep adding on and altering what you already have. So there are some teacher-specific AI tools. These are just ones that some of them that I've used and that Brian has used. It is hyperlinked in there so that you can click on it and play around with it while we're talking. All of the ones that we have chosen are free, but they do have premiums. But anything that we're showing you is free. So they all have free versions, and then obviously for more of a price, you could get, I guess, premium stuff. So Diffit is the first one, and Diffit is best for differentiating for learning for students. So you can enter an article, video, text, vocabulary list, and you can change the level of the grade for the student. You can also change the language of any article or text for your students. The premium, which if you sign up as a teacher, I think it's 60 days free of premium, because that's what I just signed up for. You can get the activities as well. So I'm going to pull over and share the Diffit screen. I got premium until October 23rd. But this is the same screen before I had premium. So you can enter any kind of topic here, and then change that reading level, and you can change the language. You can enter an article. So this is what I've used it for, is I've entered an article and I've changed the reading level of the article. Even though I teach high school, some of them were articles that were research papers. So it'll give you an abstract of it. And I'll pull something up that I did in a moment. And then you can do any text or excerpt, and then you can put a vocabulary list and have the reading level change for the vocabulary list. So one of the resources I did we'll do this one. I took a TED Talk. I put this TED Talk in there, how stress drains your brain. So it doesn't obviously alter the TED Talk, but it does do an adapted reading passage. You can adjust the length of the reading passage, short, medium, long, or the original length. It has a summary, key vocabulary words, multiple choice questions, short answers. And for any of this, you can edit them as well. You can copy it. You can put it on, a Google Doc or a Word doc and change whatever you want. But you can also download it as is and then edit it from there. So there's open-ended questions and prompts, so you don't even have to think about anything. I believe the premium thing is the Get Student Activities. So when I click this, that's where you get all of these really cool activities for students. So printable docs, summarizing learning, and a lot of different teacher-specific AIs have the same stuff, but Diffit is just one that I've used. So you can just keep going on and on. Vocabulary. But for the purpose of the what I know is free is when you can differentiate like the reading level and doing these parts here. You can align it to standards, so ELA, history, and science standards as well. So if you're doing co-curricular, does anyone has anyone used DIFIT or used it in a different way that they wanted to share?
Melissa, there is a question. What do you suggest doing? ChatGPT does not show after clicking off the link. It shows up as a blank page for me. You know, that's a question in the chat.
Yeah, I see that.
I would trust if you're just not doing a search. I'm not sure. I have not used it on Google Chrome on a Mac. I use Safari on the Mac and then Chrome on PC. I've got both as well. I'm not sure. I've been able to access both, so I'm not really sure what's happening.
Is it a school is it a school computer?
Is it already blocked? Sorry for laughing.
Did it get blocked on a school computer?
If it's just clicking the link, maybe if you just go into ChatGPT yourself.
Yeah, just like Google ChatGPT.
Personal laptop.
It's a personal laptop. So maybe just do it in a search engine, ChatGPT, and see if it comes up that way.
Now I've got to go get my Mac and try that.
Stop sharing this. No one's used DIFIT.
You've got the next two slides too. Sorry.
Okay. Slides Go. So Slides Go is traditionally a slide presentation. I have not used Slides Go personally. It's not something we use in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. But if you click on that link, it does give you, it's kind of like a Slides Carnival, where it gives you presentations. But on Slides Go, they did insert an AI bot on there, so it can make presentations for you. The one thing I did like on there, because I don't necessarily, I've tried a couple different presentation makers and it hasn't been what like I wanted. But I did like the icebreaker generator that it had on there. I thought that was kind of cool for the beginning of the year as well, because you can choose the topic, the audience, and the number of participants and the language, and it'll give you icebreakers. It also does the same thing for exit tickets, and it does have a lesson plan generator. Pretty much anything that is for a teacher will have some kind of lesson plan generator on there. But I like this one specifically for the icebreaker generator and the exit tickets, because the exit ticket, you could break it down whether you wanted a project-based learning one, a think, pair, share one, reciprocal questioning, or a self-evaluation. So I'm going to open that one up. I forgot to actually open that one up ahead of time. So this is what Slides Go looks like. So basically, it started as free templates for Google Slides, PowerPoint, and Canva. So you have that AI presentation maker here. I believe under education. It's got a whole bunch of different things that you can use and implement into your classroom. I used this okay, here we go. Under create. This changed since last week. Okay, here's the under the tools over here is the icebreak generator. So you can put in your topic. So I'm going to put in a health skill, communication skills, participants 13 to 18. We're going to have more than 15. We're going to do English. And I put in a very vague thing. You could put in more specific things you want for your icebreaker. So it gives you a whole bunch of different icebreakers. So you can insert this into a slide or copy it or download it if it's something you want to use or just to get ideas for. So icebreaker number 1, there's icebreaker number 2, number 3. So obviously, again, if there's something that you don't like, change it. But it's a great way to start getting ideas of cool things to do with students to get them moving into using health skills. And then the other one I was going to use and show today, I think, is EduAid. EduAid.
Correct.
EduAid is the one that I found that had a ton of tools. Yeah, that's the free version of SlidesGo. I don't have any paid versions, and on Diffit, it was the only one that it gave me like the premium for 60 days. Like I don't have any extra things on EduAid or SlidesGo. So EduAid has a ton of stuff on there. As you can see on that list, there's 150 different tools to help plan lessons and differentiate instructions. I think this one is the coolest one. So I'm going to share this one, the coolest one that I've found so far. Okay, so there's so much on here. It takes a while to kind of go through this. Oh no. Okay, okay. Did it log me out? What did I do here? Let me go back. Sorry. So under here, and you can pull it up by subject, and of course they're not going to have a health education, but you can pull up, as you can see, and do all kinds of different things on here. And then there's planning, information objects, rubrics, anchor charts, on and on and on. But you can put in there the information you want. It doesn't have to be science or ELA. You can change the grade. For independent practice, it has all these different kinds of things as well. And I have not been dinged to pay for any of this. And it has not told me that I needed to, that I had like a free trial. Under cooperative learning, jigsaw activity. And I'll show you something that I made with that jigsaw activity. I think pair share, learning stations, project-based learning stuff. STEM projects, team-based activities. So these are all really cool. And then if you go under assistant, it has a syllabus starter, email outline. Keep going down. It's got all of these things. Under accessibility, IEP outlines, inclusive strategies, Lexile decreaser and increaser, SMART goal outline. Wellness, it has social emotional learning activities, mindful activities, more icebreakers and team building activities. School improvement project, digital citizen literacy or lesson. So you can enter the topic words down here or a standard and click on that and it will create stuff for you. Under administrative, there's where you get, help with some emails, policy writer, behavior contract, observation suggestions if you're doing observations. So there's a whole bunch of different things to look through. It also keeps everything over here. So I have some saved resources that I was kind of playing around with. I already showed you it. Did scenario-based questions. So it loads it on this workspace. So these are scenario-based questions that I put in here about harassment. So it has a little scenario and then questions for harassment there. It made a choice board for me. Oh, did I not click it? Sorry, my screen is really small. Okay. Okay, so here's a choice board. I did it on technology. So there's a bunch of different things for there. A jigsaw activity. Jigsaw activity on social media and technology safety. So it gives you the group, key points to cover. So it sets it all up for you. So it does save a lot of time because you don't have to think. But again, I would get the content from wherever your county gets your content from. You can use it for the skill, for the instructional strategy. I think it's super helpful. Has anyone used EduAid before?
Thanks for going through some different things. One of the things, ChatGPT will do a lot of this stuff, but what's nice about some of these other sites is that they're programmed to give you specific things. So you can go into ChatGPT, which is this big, bulky, generic thing, and say, I want a bell ringer or an intro activity for food labels, a lesson on food labels to 8th grade students. And it may kick out some stuff for you. It may kick out some very interesting stuff for you. It all depends when we've been playing with ChatGPT. But as you use some of these other tools, they program it specifically for education. So one of the tools that we're not going to talk about today, but it's a PE tool, Connected PE. If you use Connected PE, Jared Robinson actually created that site specifically for physical education. So when you go in and say lesson plan for PE basketball, 7th grade, year 7, if you tweak it for his language for Australia, New Zealand, it's a lot easier. But it'll actually kick out a lesson plan for physical education. So when you go into some of these tools like EduAid, it already knows what a bell ringer is. So you don't really have to set it up and say, I need an introductory activity, I need a bell ringer, I need this. It kind of already knows. You just hit boom, 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 and it'll jump forward. We just want to share a few other tools that we like to play around with. And one of those tools is Goblin Tools. Goblin Tools is fun. It's interesting. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. So inside of Goblin Tools, you can type in and say, I would like to, I need to write a PSA on vaping. And then you go over these little spices. Is how much breaking down do you need? Do you need a lot? Do you need a little? I'm just going to say a little. I'm going to add that to it. And I'm going to hit this little working tool. And then it gives me all the different steps that a student can do in order to write a PSA on vaping. So the first thing, research the health effects of vaping. Well, what does that mean? Where am I supposed to go? Well, now I can click on that little tool and it's going to identify some research. What steps do I need to do in order to research the health effects of smoking? And you can do that and break it down farther and farther into more specific steps for each of those different things. It's a fun little tool just to help kids get organized. You as a teacher can go inside of there and you have some students that get lost when you assign them different topics. You can do this in order to support your students and have that in your back pocket. when that student gets a little lost, here are some steps in order to support you and how to move forward. One of the things I like to do up at the top, there is this formalizer tool. So if you look on this tool, and I just clicked the hamburger in the top right, it gave me a lot of different tools that you can pick from with Goblin Tools. Goblin Tools does not ask at this point in time any login information. So you don't have to use your Google, you don't have to use anything like that. And so if you look at make my text, it says more professional. When you click on that, you're given a lot of different options, more accessible, polite, less snarky, easier to read, formal, informal, all these different things. I actually use this tool when I'm going in and writing that email to a parent, asking them for, information, support with their student, whatever else. I type it into there. And then I also go in when I'm writing something to the Board of Ed. I go in there, put in what I was going to write, hit make it more formal, and it kicks out a very nice, well-written thing that I copy and paste, tweak it to the way that I need it in order to move it forward. So this formalizer tool in Goblin Tools is a lot of fun to play with, looking for steps or a formalizer. And you can do this in ChatGPT. You can take a text, dump it inside of there, and and say, I would like this to be more formal. I need this to support for 8th graders or things like that. And again, what's nice about this tool is, a lot of times our students have difficulty and our teachers writing curriculum. How do you change that objective and put it into student language so that the majority of students can understand? Well, you can put it inside of here, change it, put convert, and it'll give you some student-based options as well. Again, most of these tools will do that. There's a variety of things you can do. It's just your preference. So that's Goblin Tools. This tool, Conmingo from Khan Academy, I just learned about. This was just shared with me, and one of my colleagues was like, people know Khan Academy, so if they're familiar with that and their school system does subscribe to that, they may be supporting that. So he just wanted to make sure that I was sharing this with you as well. And so this is Conmingo. So again, similar stuff. It supports development related to education. So you see that there's a whole lot of different tools in here. Melissa's already talked about how using it for differentiation. You see it IEP support and things like that. So a lot of different tools, just a specific tool for you to use. The last one that we want to talk about before we want to play around, and we realize, again, thank you all for being here. It's 7:50, is Magic School. One of the issues is that if you do try to log in Magic School is blocked in my system. I can't use my FCPS.org email, but I can go in my system and use my sohealthy@yahoo.com account, my personal email account, without a problem. But what's nice, one of the things that he loved it for, and he always shared it with the PE teachers, is the coach's sport practice plan. And you can go in there, click on that. It asks you for, what age, what length of practice, what sport are you trying to do, and it will give you a variety of different things. But one of the nice things is that it's a YouTube video summarizer as well. So one of the things that you can do with Magic School is put in that link, and it will actually summarize a specific video for you as well. So and as you see, the other resource, developing the questions. So you have a video that you're incorporating in the class. You want to create some different questions. You can use this tool, and it will do that for you. This is a free version for teachers at this point in time, but that is very nice to have that tool available. And then again, take those questions, go back into ChatGPT or Eduate or things like that, and then expand on those questions and be able to modify them and support for different things as well. Our main process right now was just to give you some different tools and resources to hopefully help you out. We were going to say go and play. Hopefully you've been playing around. We realize it is a little 7:52 already, so we're not going to take a few minutes to do that. Hopefully you've been playing around. Hopefully you've been adding some different resources, different information inside of there as well. Melissa did type in 3 practice ideas for you. Go ahead, Melissa.
And just Jeff, Brisk teaching is a Chrome extension. I did play around with that as well, but then I got blocked from it. But that is a Google Brisk teaching. I was able to play around with that for a little bit, and I do like that one as well. And for all of you who are cell phone savvy, a lot of these have apps. So if you wanted to use it on your phone, ChatGPT I know has an app, but some of these have apps as well. So if you wanted to do one of these practice scenarios, you can take an MSD standard and create a rubric. I linked a CDC article about vaping, and you can try to change the level for that to a 7th grade or, a 5th grade level. Or you can try to do an icebreaker to practice that skill of decision making, just to kind of play around with them and get used to them. I mean, that's what it takes, is kind of just playing around and seeing how it's going to best support you as a teacher or curriculum writer or specialist.
We did want to throw in some resources for you as well. There are a lot of resources out there. The bottom one on this page, ditch that textbook. If you're familiar with them for educational technology, a lot of different resources. There's a lot of different webinars that they have produced that they will share. They share on their YouTube channel as well. They are asked to present on a variety of different places. Really great resources, overall big picture kind of stuff. Again, if you want to dive deeper into some of these different topics, we hope that you just play around and just jump in and start using some of these resources to help you out. The other sites, again, just are more resources. One of the things, writing prompts is critical. The better you become at writing your prompts, the easier it becomes. The link earlier is a video that the educational technology specialist goes through how he designs the process of writing a prompt. But there's some other resources inside of here as well. So all of those different resources, please take a look at them at your leisure. You all have access to them at this point in time. And we wanted to end just by saying thank you. And the other thing is, before you go, we do have inside of here, we would like to put in a opportunity for a certificate. We want to thank you for participating with us. And here is a link for a certificate. Please you can put in your information, put in your school information, and it will kick back a Shape Maryland 1-hour certificate for participating in this webinar. Again, thank you so much, Melissa.
Yeah, and if you wanted to drop in the chat any other AI tools that you use and you found success in for other people to check out, that would be great as well. But thank you all for attending.
We're going to add Jeff's into that as well.
Brisk teaching. Mm-hmm.
So perfect. Right now, sorry. I'm going to stop recording.
Pear Deck.